What's up fellow hunters, Nox here, welcome to another exciting build video. Today we're going to talk about the new best Elemental Switchaxe build that doesn't rely on any health training skills like Dereliction. I will show a non-augmented version first that is super easy to make, and a upgraded version with augments right after to give you some extra ideas. Let's go. Raging Dragon. This is the new best build for all elements. I'm using the Magmadron Switchaxe as example here, but we're gonna see all of the best weapon choices after the build. Since our main focus is elemental damage here, we of course have level 5 of whatever element we choose. Then we have Element Exploit to increase our elemental damage by 10% when attacking weak spots, along with Burst, which increases our element output further when landing continuous hits. Depending on the weapon, we also get to add Teostra or Kushala Blessing for an additional 10% elemental damage on top. And now we have the two core skills of the build, Furious and Dragon Conversion. These two have an insane synergy going on. With everything active, my element went from 123 all the way up to 223. That is a ridiculous jump of 100 element. To understand how to get these crazy numbers, we need to take a look at how exactly Furious and Dragon Conversion work together. Furious is quite simple. At level 3, the skill will give us plus 20 points to all element resistances. Here's an example. Let's say we have 5 in all stats and Furious gives us plus 20 to everything. We now have 25 across the board and a total of 125. This is where things already cross over into Dragon Conversion. On the red scroll, Dragon Conversion takes all our element resistance and counts it together. Then 25% of that total number gets converted into whatever element we are using at the time, and the element resistance is set to 0. This means that the plus 20 we got to every single stat from Furious automatically get turned into a huge element attack boost as well. In this case, that would be 25% of a total of 125. Giving us plus 31 element attack, which is massive. On top of that, while on the blue scroll, attacking the monster a certain number of times will give us an additional plus 15 resistance buff to all stats. Cool thing is, this resistance buff carries over to the red scroll, meaning this will also get converted into element attack when we switch back to red. This might have all sounded a bit complicated, but it's actually super simple to use. We start every quest on the red scroll by default, so step 1 is simply switching from red to blue. For step 2, we then attack the monster until we hear a sound effect go off and the shield symbol appears above our health bar. This lets us know that we got the additional resistance buff from Dragon Conversion. And step 3 is just switching back to red and enjoying even more element attack. With that explained, back to the build. Aside from our huge elemental skill synergy, we also have attack boost level 4 for an additional damage boost. Even though our focus is not on landing critical hits, we have Weakness Exploit for its great DPS value, along with some critical eye and latent power that just come with the armor pieces as a very nice bonus. Then we have Max Rapid Morph as well as some Evade Extender and Power Prolonger to add extra DPS and smoothness to the playstyle. For Sharpness Management, we have Protective Polish level 2. This keeps our weapon at purple sharpness for a full minute after sharpening. This can of course be upgraded to level 3 later on. By the way, don't worry about the talisman if you don't have a similar one. Since this version of the build is completely augment free, you can make up for anything you might be missing with a simple augment or slot upgrade. If you're going to use these exact parts, the augment recommendations will look like this. The first thing you want to do is of course getting the final level of Furious into the build for maximum damage potential. As long as we don't have a Furious decoration, there is no way to get level 3 into the build without augmenting. But no need to worry, Furious doesn't seem to be that rare. After that, the only real priority is maxing out Protective Polish. Having at least one level of Wirebug Whisperer is a great addition to the build as well. You can either go for one of these skills or just try to get some slot upgrades. Now we're going to take a look at my personal version of the build that includes augments and some part variations. We're going to cover what exactly my augments are in a moment as well. As you can see, my upgraded version of the build turns into a different monster entirely. As most of you already know, I don't use any mods, so this is very manageable as I don't have any crazy augments like say a Weakness Exploit plus 2 or something else crazy like that for example. I was able to add crit boost and a bunch of comfort skills like Defiance, Stun Resistance and Intrepid Heart. Aside from that, I have maxed out Protective Polish and whatever else the augments decided to throw at me. On a side note, I actually lost one level of burst compared to the non-augment version. The talisman I'm using for this one has some nice slots, but aside from that, it's not that impressive. Lots of different talismans will work here as well of course, but you can also get something similar or better quite easy with the newest melding method. I'm just using this one because it works for me. This is what my current augments are looking like. You can of course get any of these augments on whatever part you want. The necessary ones in my case are 3 levels of Furious since I chose to remove all of the Furious Rajang parts. 2 levels would definitely be enough though, since the Furious Rajang legs are very good for Switchaxe. They are worth keeping in the build if you get a decent augment. Aside from that, I got 1 level of Powder Mantle and Wirebug Whisperer. Both aren't necessary, but nice bonuses to have. Just go for whatever you enjoy. It took me about 150 pieces of Royal Amber Essence to get all of these augments. That might sound like a lot, but considering that we can get between 20 and 40 of those per hunt now, that's not bad at all. That said, it will of course be different for everyone. Now that we covered both versions of the build, let's take a look at the other best weapon options. We have Almudron for water, Lagombi for ice, Calamitous for dragon, and Narwa for thunder. Yup, you heard correctly. Lagombi now officially beats Kushala. That is due to the elemental file scaling much better with the priority skills. For both water and ice, make sure to swap the flame scale for Iron Shell decorations to get the 10% elemental boost from the connected skills. Dragon and thunder don't have any decorations like this, so I recommend just using any of these 4 if your build doesn't have them already. 2 extra mentions go to the Kushala and Flaming Espina's Switchaxe. They are compatible with the build as well and are nice substitutes if you don't feel like using the other options for ice and fire. If you want to see a build for the Switchaxe Switchaxe that features Dragon Heart combined with the new Dragon conversion, let me know in the comments below, because that is also a very strong combination that can outperform this build in some situations. And if you're having trouble with the new Risen Valstrax fight, make sure to check out these 10 tips that make the fight easier. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.